So we have seen what is prompt engineering and what are the different prompt engineering techniques we have, and how to create an account in OpenAI and how to get the API key from OpenAI, right? Now let's see the different prompt engineering techniques that we have. The first one is basic prompt, right? So let me go to our code editor, VS Code, so we can see the basic prompt engineering technique implementation, right? So we have seen how to create a workspace and name it build generative AI applications. You can name anything. And underneath we have RAG demo and also chunking methods demo. So we have seen RAG application, how to build a question answer system, RAG application before. And then we have seen different chunking methods that we have: character text splitter, markdown header text splitter, recursive character text splitter, token text splitter, right? So let me close these two. And similar to RAG demo and chunking methods demo, I have created an empty folder called prompt engineering demo. So let me add this folder to this workspace, build generative AI applications, right? Right click and then click on add folder to workspace and then select prompt engineering demo and click add. So now you can see prompt engineering demo. This has been added, right? So now select this folder and then click on file, new file, and select Python file, and let's save it. So make sure you go to prompt engineering demo, right? And then let's name it basic prompt demo and save it, right? So underneath RAG demo we have RAG application, and underneath chunking methods demo we have chunking methods files, and underneath prompt engineering demo we will be creating all different prompt engineering techniques here. So the first one is basic prompt. So first thing is we have to install all the required packages from LangChain, because we will be using the methods that we have inside LangChain in order to interact with the OpenAI LLM, right? So what you have to do, click on view and go to the terminal, and from here try to execute these two commands: pip install LangChain community and pip install OpenAI, right? So pip install LangChain community and hit enter, and then pip install OpenAI and hit enter, right? So once the installation is complete, then you can import the modules that are inside these LangChain packages, right? So let me close this terminal, close this. Now let's try to import all the required modules, right? So first thing is we installed all the required packages with pip install command, and then the next thing is we are trying to import all the required modules, right? So this OS module is to read the key from the environment file, right? And remember, in case anytime if you ever get module not found, then make sure you install the corresponding package by pip install command, right? If you do not know the exact package name, then you can go to PyPy, that is Python package index, and double check the package name. For example, so here you can type OpenAI and hit enter. So let's say you want to use this, then you can see the command pip install OpenAI, right? So you can just copy this and then execute it, right? So that's how you can install any packages that are required, right? And what we did here, we tried to import all the required modules. For example, OpenAI we imported from LangChain LLMs, prompt template from LangChain prompts, LLM chain from LangChain chains, and chat OpenAI from LangChain chat models, right? So we have seen how to get the OpenAI key, right? So once you get the key, make sure you store it in an environment variable so you can read it from there and use it in our code, right? So let's go to prompt engineering demo, and underneath this folder right click and create a file, and let's name it .env. And here let's create a variable API key, and you have to store your API key that you got from OpenAI, right? So you can name anything here. I'm just giving API underscore key, but you can name anything here and store your key here, right? And then save it. So once you save your key inside your environment variable, next thing is now let's see how to read the key and make use of it, right? So now let's read the OpenAI key from the environment file that we just created so we can make use of it, right? So let me close this. So the first thing is we need to load the environment variables from .env file, right? So we are using load_.env to load the environment variables from env file. Now the next thing is let's try to read the key. So we can use the module OS, and inside that we have get env function, and we have to pass the name that we used inside our environment file. Remember, we saved with this name. Whatever name you give inside your environment file, you have to provide that name here so that we can read the API key from this environment file. So let me store that API key inside this environment variable OpenAI API key. Okay, so far what we did, we installed all the required packages, and then we imported the modules from these packages, and we did load the environment variables from environment file, and then we read the key, and then the key we stored inside the OpenAI API key environment variable. Okay, now let's initialize OpenAI LLM by using this chat OpenAI, right? So this is how we initialized our LLM. So once we initialized our LLM, the next step is we need to define the prompt template, right? So we are defining the prompt template, right? So this is our basic prompt template, and there is no context here. So what we did here, we just created a basic template variable, and we are passing reply to this customer message, and inside the curly braces we are giving customer_message. This curly brace means it's a variable, right? So this variable makes the prompt more dynamic. Instead of hard coding the values, we are just passing by using this variable, and we will pass the value to this variable when we call the function now. And once we define the basic template, that is our prompt template, the next step is let's use prompt template, right, which is inside LangChain, and define the variables that we have inside our prompt, right? So that is our next step, right? So what we are doing here, we are using the prompt template which is inside LangChain prompts, and we are creating our basic prompt. And here we have two variables. The first one is input variables, and then the second one is template. For the input variables, make sure you give the same name. Whatever you defined inside your basic template, you have to provide the same name here. That is our input variable. And the second one is template. For template, we are giving whatever basic template we defined before, we assign that to template, right? So that's how we created our basic prompt. So what we are doing here, we are passing the question and also the template, right? Now this prompt template, it will be passed to this LLM chain, right? Don't worry about these chains. We have a separate section for chains. We will deep dive into chains, right? So the next step is create a basic chain by using this LLM chain. So what we have to do here, we have two parameters. First one is LLM. For LLM, we already initialized our OpenAI LLM by using chat OpenAI. So we are assigning that. And the second parameter is prompt. For this, we already created basic prompt here, right? So we are assigning this variable. So with this, we created our LLM chain. So here we are chaining LLM and also the question, that is our prompt, together into one by using this LLM chain. Now once we have LLM chain ready, let's try to write a dummy customer message here. We haven't passed any value here. Now let's try to pass the value to our customer message variable. So if you see here, this is just a dummy message. So this is kind of a frustrating message from the customer. I have been waiting for 2 hours for your delivery and it still hasn't arrived. This is absolutely unacceptable. I paid extra for express delivery and this is what I get. I want my money back immediately, right? So the customer is very angry, right? So instead of this message, you can replace with any other customer message you want, right? Whether happy message or angry message or frustrated message or slightly angry message, right? So whatever you want, you can replace here. So we passed the message to the customer message variable, right? Now we have our chain ready, right? So now let's run the chain and we can see the response from the LLM, right? So what we are doing here, inside our LLM chain, we have a method called run. To that pass this customer message. So we can see the response from our OpenAI LLM, right? So make sure you save it. So what we did here, we installed all the required packages and then we imported all the modules from the LangChain package. And then here we are loading the environment variables from env file. So we saved our key inside API key, which is inside our environment file. And we are reading the key here and we are storing inside OpenAI API key. And the next thing is initializing our LLM, which is nothing but OpenAI. And then we are trying to define our prompt template, reply to this customer message. So if the customer message is this, then we have to see how our LLM will respond, right? In case if you want to change this customer message to a happy message and then see how OpenAI responds, right? So you just try to change this message and then execute this code and see how the LLM responds, right? And then here what we are doing, we are using prompt template and passing our input variables. First one is the customer message and then the second parameter is the basic template which we defined before. And then by using LLM chain, here we are passing both LLM and the basic prompt. These two are the parameters to LLM chain. So with this we created our chain. The next thing is we have to pass a value to this customer message variable, and then inside our LLM chain we have a method called run. So we are calling that method and passing our customer message. Now once you execute this, let's see how the LLM responds. So you can click on this run Python file or you can click on run. Either you can do debugging or you can run without debugging also. Either way is fine. So let's try to click run Python file. So these are just the warnings. So it is telling us there are some deprecated methods. Instead of that, try using this. So it is just suggesting us to use the other methods that we have, right? So you can update accordingly. So you can see the LLM response here, right? I apologize for the inconvenience and frustration this has caused you. I completely understand your concerns and I will do my best to resolve this issue for you. Please provide me with your order details so I can look into this matter right away and arrange for a refund if necessary. Thank you for your patience, right? So we passed this angry customer message and this is how our LLM is responding, right? So now you got an idea on how to create a basic prompt, right? So instead of this message, you try to change to a different message and run the code and see how the LLM is responding, right? So here for LLM, we are using OpenAI, right? So we are trying to chat with OpenAI. We passed this message and then we got this response, right? So this is how you can create a basic prompt. So this is just a basic prompt. So let's see, instead of just passing this basic message, if there is any other way, right? Thank you.